In today's video, we're checking out a microphone in direct competition to the Rode VideoMic Pro. This is the Saramonic SR-VM4. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, folks. My name's Shane. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. So before we start, I just wanted to let you know Saramonic have sent this out for the review. I didn't actually buy it. We are going to test it up against another one of my microphones, which I did purchase. They haven't paid me to promote this or anything like that, so all the thoughts about this will be my own. I've used plenty of microphones over the years, so what you're about to hear is hopefully a good representation of how this sounds up against a more affordable option and whether there's a huge difference. So to hook this up to your camera, all you have to do, it comes with the provided shock mount, slide it onto the hot shoe mount here, lock it down, and put the 3.5mm jack into your audio input, which on the G85 is actually hidden under here. I can't stand that, but that's where it's hidden. And there it is. So that's all you need to do to get it going. Now, being that this is a shotgun condenser microphone, it does require two AA batteries, but the good news is they're AA's and not AAA's, which means you can find them anywhere, or you can just buy a set of rechargeable ones like I'm using right now. So if they do go flat, recharge them, use them again. It's all good things. So you get up to 720 hours of use time out of a single set of AA batteries. So that's insane. That means the operating time on this is phenomenal. You'll hardly ever replace them. Let's just look at it that way. Just make sure though, you turn the microphone off when you're not using it. I'm guilty of sometimes leaving these on, but the LED indicator on the back at least alerts you to know that the microphone is still enabled. Now we get a frequency response of the full human hearing scope. So 20 Hertz to 20 kilohertz. We get a signal to noise ratio of 80 dB and an output impedance of 50 ohm. Now this microphone is a supercardioid polar pattern, which means it's supposed to just pick up sound from the front. Odds are you're hearing those birds right now because they're behind me, which is on the same side as the actual pickup pattern. So anything that's on this side will get picked up, and we've got a busy road going by now, so it's going to pick that up. But odds are if I turn the microphone back this way, you're going to hear far less traffic noise. Now this microphone's quite large, but it's extremely light, coming in at only 141 grams, so it won't weigh your camera down that much. I'm currently using it on my Panasonic GH5, and the entire kit with the Manfrotto Pixie weighs 1200 grams. Included with this setup, we get the microphone, we get this windsock, and we also get the dead cat. Now, interestingly enough, there's no sort of cable tie at the back of this dead cat, so it's designed to go onto the foam windsock as well. If you don't have the windsock on there, there's no wind protection from this side, and there's no way it will stay on. So they've designed it so you put this on first, and then put the dead cat on, and you'll be good to go. It's actually quite easy to get on there. It's a bit awkward trying to do it while I'm filming a video, but there you go. So done, nice and simple. One of the tests I wanted to add into this video as well, see how the microphone moves slightly? Now this shock mount is extremely good, but one test I wanted to make sure of is that it didn't make any noise while walking. So we're gonna have a listen to that now. Let's do a quick test now, just walking with the camera facing forward. I just wanna see how much noise the microphone makes because I can see it shaking a little bit, but the shock mount looks pretty good. So let's give this a shot. Let's do a quick audio comparison now between the Saramonic microphone and the Takstar. You're currently listening to the Saramonic. And now over to the Takstar shotgun microphone, one of the best cheap ones you can buy. I've taken the windsock off the Saramonic, which you'll hear in just a moment, so it'll just be with the foam windshield instead of both layers of protection. So this is how the Takstar microphone sounds, just as a basis for comparison with everything set flat. And now back to the Saramonic microphone with the dead cat off. Let me know if you can hear a difference in the audio quality. Now the lowest section of the microphone gives us three different input options. So we have 0 dB, which is completely flat. We have minus 10 dB, which is going to reduce the input volume. So if you're recording something that's really loud, That's a really handy option. And then we get the plus 20 dB option, which drastically increases the amount of signal the microphone can get. So if you're recording something really quiet, like some ambient sounds, and we'll do that in this video, the microphone is more than capable of doing that. Another standout feature of this microphone is the fact that we have a high pass filter and a 20 dB boost. Now, depending on your camera system, you might have preamps that are a little bit lackluster. So if you wind those all the way down, you can essentially add more gain from the microphone to the preamps instead of using the preamp gain themselves. And what this will do, it will give you a much cleaner signal. Let's test out the high pass filter. So what you're listening to right now is my voice just as you heard it before, and now you're hearing it with the high pass filter on. So the high pass filter is good for reducing some of the low end, which means that traffic noise you might have heard earlier will be far less intrusive into the audio, those low frequencies. Or if I'm walking and the microphone's got any noise, which we'll find out a bit later on, and I'll comment on that, it may actually help in reducing any self noise from the microphone getting moved around. Now, one of the cool things about this mic is it actually has a pretty good system in terms of its built-in shock mount. So I expect this to sound pretty great, and if it doesn't, I'll leave some annotations on screen and comment on it a little bit later. What I'm going to do now is test out the polar pattern of the microphone in a little more detail. So I have the microphone facing me. Now what I'm going to do is turn the whole camera around so the microphone is pointing in exactly the opposite direction. And you can see how much audio of my voice is being picked up. So as you can probably hear, the audio dropped out drastically. So if being behind the camera is important to you, this definitely isn't the right mic unless you orient it like that to begin with. And now for the final test, I'm testing it with my GoPro Hero 8 Black with the GoPro Hero 8 Media Mod. Now, one of the cool things about this is I had a quick listen from the onboard speaker, and it looks like it sounds pretty great, or it sounds like it sounds pretty great, but unfortunately, you're seeing the microphone right in the center of the shot. I tried it on narrow mode, and it's still cropped in, and I could still see the microphone. So unfortunately, give this one a miss if you're a GoPro vlogger. I think the audio quality will be great and it's nice and light, but unfortunately you get that right in the middle of the screen. It's just too distracting and it's right in the way. So in terms of functionality, it's great. It sounds good. It's got a nice sort of chesty sound to it, which means it's got a lot of bass and a lot of warmth. It had more bass than this in my opinion, but there is a difference in price. I'll leave some links below. So the only sort of downside I have of a microphone like this is it's not very subtle. It's absolutely huge. So if you're okay with bringing a large microphone out with you, this is a really great choice. Ideally, if it's not too windy, get rid of the dead cat, and it drastically sort of changes the appearance of the microphone, making it look far less obvious that you've got something, you know, strange in your hand if you're a bit concerned or if you get self-conscious about vlogging. It's totally understandable. And then in that situation, it's very much the same size as the Takstar, but it is a little bit wider. I love how light it is. It is extremely light, 141 grams. It really doesn't add much. This is the G85, but even on my GH5, it wasn't uncomfortably heavy. So I really like that. I think the sound quality is great. And I think all of the options at the back here, being able to change it from minus 10 dB to 0 to plus 20 dB is really handy given any type of situation. Now you might be asking, can you use this as an overhead shotgun microphone? You probably can, but you'll need a very specific connection. It doesn't have your traditional tripod mount like a proper shotgun microphone has. So you'll need to get an adapter for this, and then you could absolutely have this out of shot above your head and get some audio samples like that. But I don't actually have a connector where I can show you how that sounds. Plus, I'd need an extension cable as well from this 3.5mm jack into the camera. But overall, I think this is a really great sounding microphone. I think its strengths are, it's extremely light, it sounds great, and it's got that big warm sound. And what I also liked about it, it didn't seem to pick up a lot of unnecessary sound. It only picks up what you're pointing at it. So anything behind you will also come up in the recording, but a lot of what's on the opposite side of the microphone won't be picked up that much. So that super cardioid polar pattern is definitely working to your favor if you're a vlogger. So there's really only two small criticisms of this microphone. The first one is it is big, and with the dead cat on there, it looks absolutely huge. But if you're comfortable with that, it's all good. Now, some people who like to vlog also like to talk from behind the camera. And once you've got this locked down, there's no way of actually spinning the microphone around other than having to take it off and point it backwards like this. So it will only pick up whatever's in front of it. So if you're behind the camera talking a lot, this wouldn't be the right choice, and none of those type of microphones would be the right choice in that scenario. But in terms of how the audio quality sounds, I think it sounds pretty great. A massive thank you to Saramonic for sending this out for the review. I really appreciate it. They're making some of the best microphones I've ever heard. This Saramonic shotgun microphone, the Soundbird T3, has replaced my Rode NTG. It just sounds far better to my ear. If you want to see more about that microphone, I'll link it up in the cards and you can have a look. But overall, I think for what you get, this is a really great pack. It doesn't come with a whole lot of stuff, just the microphone and two different filters that you can put on the front to stop that wind noise from becoming a problem for someone who's vlogging or recording audio outside. Thanks again. Catch you soon. See ya.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and click the bell for video notifications.